fellow carbon-based bipeds. I am Scott Rose, and you are watching Explosions and Stuff. Today, I'll be reviewing the 2006 film Bone Cop, Bad Cop, starring Colm Feore, Patrick Huard, and Patrice Bélanger. But first, a word from our sponsors. An overview of the movie? After a dead body is found at the border between Ontario and Quebec, detectives David Bouchard from Montreal and Martin Ward from Toronto must set aside their differences and work together. Meanwhile, the tattoo killer is picking off the people he believes are destroying the game of hockey, which he loves so much. It's a race against time as Ward and Bouchard struggle to capture the one responsible for this chaos. The pros of this movie? Well, first of all, I think they did a great job at making Ward and Bouchard feel human. They did a fantastic job of that. They weren't just one-dimensional cops like, Ward wasn't the one-dimensional straight-laced cop, and Bouchard wasn't the one-dimensional, rogue cop who just gets stuff done and plays by his own rules. No, you could see, you showed them, this movie showed them caring about their families. They have children. They have ex-wives. They have families that they look after and that they care about and that they're working towards being the best father and ex-husband they can be in some cases. They did a great job at making these characters human, at making you care about these characters as people, not just as cops, and just showing that, things don't always go their way. They're kind of broken characters, not like broken in the sense that, they're perfect and nothing's flawed. No, broken in the sense that they are flawed. They have problems. They have issues. They have things going wrong in their life. They are normal human beings, but they're just doing the best they can with what they have and trying to make the best out of a bad situation. And they did a great job at establishing these characters as human beings. Also, this is your typical buddy cop movie. That's what this movie. It's a buddy cop movie. I mean, you have Martin Ward, who's just the straight-laced guy who wears a turtleneck and suits more often than not. He's the guy from Ontario. He's the guy from Toronto. He's the straight-laced, play by the rules, proper etiquette kind of guy. And then you have David Bouchard, the guy from Montreal, who's like, just a kind of a rogue cop, kind of sloppy. I mean, it's Murtaugh and Riggs. It's Starsky and Hutch. This is a buddy cop movie, and they establish it. And the fact that they're from such different cultures, and that they speak different languages. The guy from Ontario speaks English, and the guy from Quebec speaks French. The fact that they're so different, that just adds one more thing, one more layer to their differences that they have to overcome. It's not just, they come from different worlds and they have different personalities. No, it's a cultural difference. It's a language barrier they have to overcome to work together to catch this bad guy. And they did a great job with it. It was just fantastic. Also, the lighting in this movie was great. I mean, yes, for a lot of the movie, during the comedic, silly parts, it's bright and cheerful and colorful. But then when they're interacting with the bad guy, and when they're in the bad guy's house, and whenever the bad guy is present and on screen, it's dark. It's got a kind of a weird green tint to make you feel uncomfortable, like something's not natural here. Something's not right. It's dark. It looks like sickly green, and they did a fantastic job with the lighting and the color in this movie, just to get the mood across of what you're supposed to feel in these moments. The lighting did a fantastic job of building the emotion in this movie. The cons of this movie? Well, it has some slow moments. By that I mean, this movie really shouldn't have been any more than an hour and a half to an hour 45 minutes tops. That's how long it should have been. This movie was 2 hours long. It didn't need to be that long. There were a lot of long and drawn out scenes that just they could have cut out of there. Like one in particular, you've got the one of the bad guys is dressed up in this mascot costume. He's dressed up as this beaver mascot from a hockey team, and he's looking in the mirror of a bathroom, and he's just reenacting the "You Talking to Me" scene from Taxi Driver while looking at himself in the mirror while dressed as this comical beaver. You didn't need all of that. I mean, the scene itself was probably 5 minutes long, and you didn't need that. You could have cut most of that out. Just establish that he changed into the beaver costume and move on. You didn't need that little "You Talking to Me" scene. And that wasn't the only scene where they did that. They did that in a lot of other scenes. You could have just cut out all of those long, drawn-out moments that were there for comedic effect but weren't really funny. They just looked awkward and silly. And you could have cut those out and made the movie almost half an hour shorter. Seriously, just cut out some of those unnecessary, long, drawn-out scenes, make your movie shorter, and it feels less slow. It feels more exciting and fast-paced. Kind of tying in with that, there wasn't a lot of action in this movie. Let's be honest, they focused mostly on comedy. It wasn't a lot of strong action in this movie, it was mostly comedy. There's nothing wrong with comedy. I watched this expecting an action scene. The trailer made me expect this to be an action scene, but there wasn't a lot of action in this movie. The action they had was great, it was fantastic. There just wasn't a lot of it. The thing that really threw me off the most, though, it was the French Canadian versus English Canadian rivalry. Now, I'm not Canadian. I'm an American. I'm not Canadian. So I didn't understand this rivalry. I know that it exists. I know that much. And that's all I know about it. I don't know any details as to why or how it plays out or any of the jokes that they make fun of each other with, how those work. I don't understand it because it's not part of my culture. Now, I'm not saying that it was a horrible thing that they included this and that they shouldn't have done that. Obviously, they should. This is a Canadian movie. It's being made for a Canadian audience. They'll get these jokes. They will understand these jokes. So fine, leave them in there. But as a non-Canadian, as someone not from that culture, watching this movie, I probably didn't get about 1/3 of the jokes in this movie because I just didn't understand this rivalry and this cultural rivalry between the two not really organizations, but between the two different groups of people. I don't understand the rivalry, so I didn't understand the jokes when I heard them or saw them, and they just fell flat to me or went over my head. I'm not saying get rid of them. I'm just saying it's one thing that kind of made me enjoy the movie a little bit less. My overall thoughts on the movie? I really enjoyed this movie, and I give it one thumb up. Now, I was worried going in that I wouldn't understand the humor due to cultural differences, and while that did happen at some points, for the most part, it wasn't really an issue. The movie could have been a little shorter, and that's the main reason I didn't give this movie 2 thumbs up. If you like buddy cop movies, Bone Cop Bad Cop is one you should check out. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like it and subscribe to my channel for new action movie reviews posted every week and top 10 lists posted on the 10th of every month. Also, if you have any recommendations for things you would like me to cover in the future, please leave them in the comments below and follow us on Twitter at explosions_TV. Thank you and have a nice day.